So the fifth, so here at Yale, a lot of students do research here because of the thesis, and so the fifth year is really just any year within the 4 years or 5 years total that you do where you're doing your year of research.
Okay.
So I actually did something a little bit unorthodox. I did half of my third year, then I started my year of research.
Stop it, all right.
Yeah, so most people do it between third and fourth year. Some do between second and third. It's just wherever the timing of projects go. Sure. So I'm working in vascular tissue engineering. Basically trying to make blood vessels. Basically, in the lab. So we put cells on biodegradable scaffolds and see how we can make those grow into normal blood vessels.
Good, good.
So it's an exciting time.
Excellent, good for you.
So I think one of the really important things I think that people, and I definitely didn't fully appreciate this about Connecticut, about Yale, and about New Haven in general, it's the breadth of the Latino community here. I think a lot of students, especially who are Latino background, when they think of Connecticut or they think of the sort of place in the Northeast, especially if they're coming from the Midwest or further out, don't realize that Connecticut, this place where you think is sort of this rich sort of state, has a really large Latino population. And in New Haven in particular, it's something like 20–30% of the population is Latino.
Yes, yeah.
And so we actually have a large amount of undocumented people who are here. And a lot of the clinical work that we do deals with patients who, English is not their first language, who are Spanish-speaking only, who are underserved. So it's something that, if that's something that someone's very interested in working with populations that are underserved, it's something that is very prevalent around here. I think it's a huge gift for our experiences. And so for me, that was something that was very important, is working with underserved populations, with the Latino community, in general coming to medical school. And something that, here with the Haven Free Clinic, speaking Spanish, it's a great thing, because you're always in demand at the clinic or in the hospital, wherever you are. So the Latino community here is very strong around us here in the community, where our patients, people who we get to interact with. And likewise, this Latino students here are very strong and sort of united. Our Office of Multicultural Affairs, OMCA, is actually extremely supportive. And it's from there, I like to think of it sort of as a broader Yale community. It's a big family atmosphere. And definitely within the minority students here, the underrepresented students, it's like a big family affair. So I think just to finish up the point, I think one of the biggest strengths here, and really when I was considering medical schools, in addition to the Yale system, and Yale has so many gifts outside of the minority community and as far as the family and the students here, was really the atmosphere. And so here they do a second look weekend, and then there's an extended part for students who are underrepresented students to come. And so the family atmosphere, the collegiality that's around here amongst those students, it's something that was for me very unique and very special. Because so many schools are really great, and so when you're competing, it's some of those factors you can't really measure. I think it set Yale apart. And so seeing that Latino community that was here, for me, I felt it would add a big value to my education, and just give me greater opportunities.
Tremendous.
Yeah, and so one of those opportunities, some of the things that I took advantage of when I was here, is the Latino Medical Student Organization. And every medical school will have a certain chapter, and here in the Northeast, the chapters are called the National Boricua Latino Health Organization, which is NBLHO. It's a long acronym. And this organization serves and caters to Latino medical students as far as recruitment of medical students, retention of young faculty, and dealing with issues mainly with the pipeline of underrepresented students coming into healthcare professions. And so here at Yale locally, I was a treasurer for the chapter, and then I moved on to the regional level, and I'm one of the co-chairs now with a board of Latino medical students throughout the Northeast. In that role, I also help represent and make, work with the national organization that represents Latino medical students throughout the country. So it sort of allowed me to meet people from all over the country, travel around to different conferences, really advocate for Latino medical student issues, and we do a couple different programs, scholarships, etc. So in my role, and other student leaders who are here in these types of organizations, Yale and OMCA in particular have been extraordinarily supportive. The other board members actually on our regional board, for the most part, are not supported in any financial way or any tangible way for the travel. We have monthly meetings that we have to travel back and forth, and then conferences that we have to attend. And for me, everything has been completely covered. It's sort of no questions asked, which is a great perk, because it really allows me to focus on the work and not have to sort of worry about the burdens of how am I going to get to these meetings, and sort of add the extra burden and the financial burden, so it allows me to sort of study, do my work, then also sort of serve my community as a leader in this organization. In addition to the finances, which is great, it was really nice, Dr. Lee in particular has been a tremendous mentor. So in dealing with any political issues, any sort of questions that I might have, thinking about directions for the organization and all that, having a dean who's sort of on your side, looking out for you, asking you questions, making sure you're okay, has been extremely helpful. In addition to him, obviously, our other deans, Dean Angoff with Student Affairs has been extraordinary. She keeps tabs on you for lots of different ways, academically and socially and everything. So I think that support on such a high level is something that I definitely didn't expect, and has been very, very rewarding. And just I think allowed me to really sort of focus my efforts and sort of take things to another level that I didn't think I really could even do. So that mentorship that's sort of there has been really stellar in that role as a leader. Likewise, and this is something that I think really sets Yale apart that people told me about when I interviewed and told me a little bit about Second Look, but in that moment you don't really know what that means. I sort of said, yeah, okay, great, Yale is a very collegial place, that's what everyone would say. Collegiality is such a big thing here. And you said it sounds nice, and everyone can tell you, but you don't really know what that means. You don't know the practicality of that. Being here as a student, in addition to what I mentioned, the student roles, one of the things that's been extraordinary has been being on the wards. The faculty support there on the wards, teaching you, challenging you, making sure you're sort of okay and stable, going through sort of this big transition, able to take care of patients, and the mentors I've really gotten in really all the rotations has been something that I think is a very unique experience. I think a lot of friends from other schools will say, they'll have plus or minus experiences, meaning some will be really good and some not so good. But here, for me at least, across the board, has been really wonderful experiences. And there's a fair amount of minority faculty. Now, one of the main issues in medical schools throughout the country is that there's very, very few faculty of color or underrepresented medical students that become faculty. But here we've got a really solid group. There's a really strong drive towards mentorship amongst the group, and faculty unrelated to fields that I'm interested in. They're always looking out for me. I met one at the train station, and she's like, telling me, making sure that I do the things I need to do, because they just know you so well. So the deadlines, and she's telling me about make sure I have this letter, etc. And so it's a very personalized relationship. And I think the small class size here, and the large minority community here, and just really the support that Yale gives you, allows people to really get to know you very well. And so this is an environment where you've got a ton of student leaders and people who are really sort of focused on excellence in multiple fields, whether it be research, community advocacy, patient care, etc. Everyone's really driven. And so I think that the nature of the Yale system and the community and the strong family sense that's here, that looking out for one another and really making sure that one is able to achieve excellence, that creates a very unique environment. So being on the wards and the support I've gotten there as a leader in the MBLHO regionally, and the mentorship that I've received, and the Latino community here at Yale, I think for me, this has been an extraordinary experience here at medical school. I've done more than I ever thought I could ever really achieve. So it keeps me very busy, but it's unlike anywhere that that I've been, and I get to travel to other medical schools and see experiences. And one of the things I tell people, at the end of the day, especially when they're considering schools, at Second Look, and I talk to lots of students in that regard, really any medical school in the country, in the U.S. that you go to will be great. And you can be excellent, and you can have a great future, you can do all the things you'd like to do. But if you're privileged enough to be able to choose between schools, like some of us are really just fortunate enough to do, really see the environment. Go to the Second Looks and really see if this place is a good fit for you. And for me, that was a big thing. And so all these things that I'm mentioning here, sort of in talking about, are things that I got hints at Second Look, but I couldn't fully really appreciate them. But now being here sort of in my 5th year, it's actually my 4th year chronologically, but this 5th year of research, going through the preclinical years, the clinical years, and now being in the lab, I've really been able to appreciate all the different gifts that Yale gives you. And again, the strength here are just the people. Really driven students, faculty look out for you, and extraordinary mentorship relationships. So the sky's the limit here, and I've just been very fortunate to have gotten in and being able to choose. So I guess advice, for anyone thinking about choosing schools, is really feel that environment and make sure that wherever you go is the right fit. And there's really no place like Yale.